Welcome to part 2. So, the story goes is this is part 2. Well, we already installed the rear door blinds, but today we are going to attempt doing the big job, which is the one in the back. To be honest, it doesn't seem like too much of a big job to do. It just requires a bit of time. It's just slightly more complex. So quickly, let's just go through the bits that you'll need. Generally, the wiring for the car is already present. The only thing that you will need in terms of wiring is this cable here, and it's a 4-pin cable, and it connects obviously to the motor of the blind. The part numbers I'll put in the description of the video. This is the buttons. The part number, again, I'll put in the description. You will also need the guide rails. There's four parts, 2 to each side. The guide rails obviously help the blind go up. And you will need the blind itself, yeah. And there's 2 parts to the blind or the parcel shelf. There's the blind part and the actual shelf part. So the shelf part I don't have with me currently because I'm in Germany, and DHL in Germany is the worst. Let's to put it lightly. Yeah, it is absolutely horrific here. So I don't have it. And so I will be getting another one later. So, how do we fit it? Well, we can make it quite simple. The first thing we need to do though is we need to remove the rear seat. Unfortunately, we have to remove it completely, which means the seat and the backrest. We also need to remove a couple other pieces as well. But yeah, let's just start with the chair. So the bottom of the seat is obviously the easiest part because we can get our hands underneath here and we can just pull. Jesus. Wow. Okay. That is harder than I thought. That is really, really tight. Just be careful. I have heated seats, so I need to be careful when I'm pulling this up because I don't want to rip out the wiring. So after about 25 minutes of hoovering and €4 later, we can finally continue. So to undo the back chairs, we need to undo this bolt here. There's 4. And then once we've done that, what we need to do is we lift the chair up off of its bracket, and then it will come out. Always remember to disconnect the airbag connector as well. And then what we need to do is we also need to remove the pillar covers here on that side, both sides obviously. We also need to remove the back parcel shelf as well. There we go. Wow, that's really quite light. So we have both seats out now. The next job is to deal with the middle chair here. So we drop down the center armrest. We need to open the catch here as well. And then what we need to do is take off this top panel here. So we just get our fingers behind this clip, just pull it forward, same the other side. And then off that comes. So we need to unfortunately pop this off, at least so we can make some space to unhook the shelf from this here. Same the other side, we need to deal with the seat belts as well. So I will need to definitely get this out so I can undo it from down here. So next mission is we need to get the pillar covers out. Once we've disconnected the seat belts, we need to get the pillow covers out, and to do that obviously we're going to need to unscrew this. So we just pop these two caps here. Underneath there will be some screws, and then we can start to just pry away from under the rubber, and obviously watch out for the light. We need to disconnect that somehow. I'm yet to figure that out, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. Then we can just pull this pillow cover off. As it turns out, of course, because we have Audis, we also need to remove everything else around everything else to remove the thing that we need to remove. And of course, in this case, it is the antenna cover here. So we need to pop this off. It's quite easy. You can just pop it up from the back of the window, just pull it and it should just pop out. They're only, you know, clip-in type things. Just pop that out and the rest comes easy. Just be mindful that this cover here is quite thin, and it's clipped in at, I would say, the thinnest parts. So if you pull too hard it will snap, so just be careful. As we continue, there is a Torx bolt here as well. So we have the panel out, but I'm going to give you a head up. You will also need the panel that goes with the rear blind. I did not realize this until just now, and I've already stripped out the seats and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some modifications to this one, and hopefully it works out. So what we need to do is we need to get the whole of this pillow covers off. So what we need to do is we need to take out these pins here. So now that the pillow covers are off, we can start looking at trying to get this up. So what we need to do is just take out the 4 screws that are holding the sub to the shelf here, and now then we can just pop this up, and also remember just to take the belts out as well. So now we have the parcel shelf out. What we need to do is we need to remove all of these speakers, and that should give us enough room to slide in the rear blind. So now that we have our speakers out, we need to take some things out of the filling. So we should pull these parts out here, because there is a bolt hole or screw hole. The same on the other side. So now the rear blind is in. It's slotted in quite nicely. Just to show you, it should line up with the holes here. Okay. So what we can do in the meantime is we can install the guide rails. So what we want to do is kind of go in flat like this and swing it around. Get it in the corner, swing it around, and kind of try and hook it. It is a bit awkward. There we go. And then push down, and then it will slot straight in. So next what I would like to do is check out the wiring. So I'm going to drop the connector in, and what we're going to do is we're going to follow this wire back here down, and this wiring goes in down here into the rear of the vehicle, and it goes into the power control module, which is here. So it connects into this brown box here, this black box at the top, and it connects into the brown socket here. And pins 1 and 2 are the ones that we are going to connect to, and pins 1 and 2 are on the upper left. Obviously the first one is pin 1, and the second one next to it is pin 2. And it looks like it's upside down, but actually this is the correct way around. So it's now connected, and it's wired through that small hole here. Okay. And I've managed to pull it through. So if you've got to this stage, well done. And if you color coded your wires, also well done. Unfortunately for me, I now have to figure out which is the correct cable, and also I have to find out which is the dead cable, because one of them actually isn't connected at all. So after some checking, it turns out that pin 1 and 2 are on the top, and like I said, they go into pins 1 and 2 in that brown socket. It doesn't actually matter which way around they go, because the control module will either way make it go up and down, because it has reverse polarity switching inside there, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can be pedantic about it and make it right, but it doesn't necessarily need to go in that way around. As for the earth wire, I don't know which one that is. But either way, the earth wire isn't plugged in, and it's still absolutely fine. So now we are on to properly wiring this in. So what you'll need is these connectors here. I don't as of yet know the name of them, I can't quite remember, but they are very small. I managed to salvage these from another connector that I have. So naturally I have two, and like I said before, they will go into pin 1 and 2, which is these on the left here where my thumb is. To fit the wires, you're just going to need to pop this purple clip. This will allow you to slide the new connector straight in. Learning curve number 5482 of this project. You will find that the bolts to the speakers are very loose, and they are very loose for a very good reason, and that's because if you tighten it any more than, I don't know what, 1 Newton meter, you'll just pull the thread out completely, as I have done here. So don't worry at the fact that the speaker bolts are very loose. They are loose for a very good reason, and that's because the mounting points are very, very weak. If this does so happen to you, it is possible that you can deal with this from underneath. So what we need to do is, obviously we need to take out the liner from the boot, and then we can just drill or clear out this hole to make it a bit wider, and then we can just bang a 10mm bolt in there, and then we're finished. So we have our speakers all in. I replaced the bolt with a 10mm and washer, the ones that had broken, and now it's time to just put the rest of the car back together. Now I've got the rear parcel shelf back in. It hooks into the rear blind at the back there. So to do the modification of the panel, if you don't have the panel that fits for the rear blind, basically what we want to do is we're going to cut this indentation out. You obviously don't want to cut it completely along the line. You want to leave yourself like a 5mm gap all the way around the indentation, or also including this part here. We don't need any of this all the way around. So in the end, once you've put it back on, it should look something like that. So to fit the button, what we need to do is we need to take the clock out, and you can do that just by using a flat bladed screwdriver or something very soft, just to pop this from side to side. Whoops. Eventually it will come out. And then what we need to do is we'll need to pull this out as well, but very gently. It is quite hard, but it will come out. So once you've installed the button module, we need to do more wiring, this time under the driver's side dash. So we need to wire into the control module. So there is a wire in the loom that goes from the button to this point here, but there isn't a connector from this point here to the actual control module. The control module is this one just here. Okay, controller is J519. And what we need to do is we need to connect a wire here. So the wire in question connects to pin 14 in the grey connector, this grey one here. So it goes from pin 14 and it connects to pin 15 on this black connector here. So again, I made this wire here. It's the same as the ones we used to connect the wiring in the back of the car for the rear blind. So now that I've installed the wiring for the button, we can give it a test. Good. That's perfect. Let me press it again. Cool. So, after all of that, it is finally done. It's taken quite some time to get that sorted out. We're in the region of around about 6 hours or so, but it's all working now. All of the blinds are finally in, and yeah, very happy. Everything works. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informal enough for you, and you can follow it and do your own retrofit. And yeah, till next time.